today's hit, I want to talk about our faith. In particular, how we compare our faith with one another. Now, the Bible is filled with many great examples of men and women of great faith. Actually, in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, it's actually sometimes referred to as the Hall of Faith because it memorializes these men and women of the Old Testament and how they operated in such great faith. For example, it actually talks about Abel's faith, how he offered a better sacrifice than his brother Cain. It talked about Noah's faith, how Noah actually built the ark and it hadn't even rained on the earth yet he's building an ark out of faith. It talks about Abraham's faith, how Abraham packed up his family and took them to a land and being led by the Lord, even though he didn't know where he was going. He was walking by faith. Actually talks about Sarah's faith. Even though she was well past her childbearing years, she believed God that she was going to bear a child by faith. Again, in the chapter 11 of the book of Hebrews, it continues on memorializing Moses, memorializing Enoch and Jacob and Rahab. And this chapter is filled with many examples of these men and women operating in really great faith. And a lot of times when we read these acts of great faith, we start to compare our faith to their faith and thinking, there is no way I can do what they did. There's no way my faith measures up to theirs. But there's one thing that's common across the board in all of these stories of these men and women of great faith. And that is, they are men and women just like you and I. There's actually a really great scripture that's a really encouraging scripture for those who want to grow and walk out their faith, like these men and women memorialized in chapter 11 of the book of Hebrews. And that scripture is actually found in James chapter 5, verse 17. So let's go there. Chapter 5, verse 17 reads, Elijah was a man just like us. He prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3.5 years. And the first part of that scripture is really the most encouraging part of that scripture because it just says, Elijah was a man just like us. Some other translations say Elijah was human just like us, or Elijah had a nature just like us, or passions just like us. So what James is saying here in chapter 5, verse 17 is, just like those men and women that were memorialized in chapter 11 of the book of Hebrews, Elijah, Abel, Rahab, Sarah, Abraham, Moses, they're men and women just like you and I. They have the same limitations you and I have. They have the same passions that you and I have. They have the same sinful nature that you and I have. Yet with all of these limitations that they have, God used them like he can use you and I. And the reality is, he can actually use us in greater ways than those patriarchs of the Old Testament. John chapter 14, verse 12 says, Very truly I tell you, and this is Jesus speaking, very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works that I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these because I am going to the Father. And think about this. Jesus did a lot of amazing things in his 33 years on the earth. He raised people from the dead. He healed the sick. He healed the lame. He caused the blind to see. He cast out demons. And what Jesus is telling us here is that if you believe in me by faith, not only can you do these things, but greater things can you do. So there's no need for us to look at these characters in the Bible as something that's unattainable or unreachable. If we believe in Jesus Christ by faith, we can do these same things that these men and women of the Bible did, and even greater things, because Christ dwells and lives in us. God bless you all, and remember to always keep God on display.